Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Yammie Noob. Today we're going to be doing a comprehensive breakdown on probably our favorite beginner bike that we've done so far, the Yamaha XSR700. Today we're going to be looking at the specifications of this motorcycle, some competitors, a first-time rider impression on it. We're also going to be diving into the history of this bike a little bit and then telling you who should own it. Let's get started. Really quick, why do we even have this motorcycle? This is actually a giveaway bike that we're doing. It's part of our giveaway series. So you go over to yammienoob.co, you can check out how to win this motorcycle. We're actually giving away on June 7th is the final day for the sweepstakes. So be sure to hit the link down below and check that out because it's gonna be gone pretty soon. So we've had it for about 3 months now. Really got to know it a little bit more, put a good amount of mileage on it. But before we get too much into it, let's look at the history of where this bike came from and why we have it today.
The XSR700 can trace its lineage back to the early 70s when the cafe racer and scrambler crazes weren't style pieces for hipsters. Steve McQueen, the king of cool, rocking a Bonneville and no shirt, inspired riders all over to take their old UJMs and do something cool with them. Quick little side note, UJM stands for Universal Japanese Motorcycle and describes pretty much all of the bikes that Japan was pumping out from the late 60s all the way through the early 80s. The CB750 set the stage for a simple transverse inline 4 engine built into a heavy naked frame, and then like any good D student, the other three of the big four copied Honda's homework and started cranking these bikes out by the bucket load. In 1970, Yamaha released a parallel twin version of the UJM called the XS650, which, as the more astute of you would have probably guessed, is the grandfather to our XSR700. It made 54 horsepower and could clear a standing quarter mile in 13.8 seconds. In keeping with the UJM style, it had wide flat seats, single round headlight, and an air-cooled engine. It was fast enough for people to have plenty of fun in a corner, yet comfortable enough for riders to spend an entire day in the saddle. Sound familiar?
In 2016, Yamaha released this XSR700 and the XSR900 as a bit of a scramble towards that neo-retro cafe type of vibe thing. These bikes are very different than the dark side of Japan the whole MT line of bikes go for. Features a 689cc parallel twin engine with a 270-degree crank, makes about 74 horsepower and 47 foot-pounds of torque. It's a really pokey and fun engine to ride. The XSR700 actually wears these super standard sport bike tires and the 120/70 17s up front, the 180/55 17s out back. This is a pretty ubiquitous tire size. You can find just about anything in this size. You can get sticky tires, sport touring tires, hell, you can even put on some Pirelli Rally Scorpions on this thing and hit your favorite fire road. I would personally recommend putting on a pair of Bridgestone S22s. It's a great wet weather tire and all around great sport bike tire for this bike. Because these Pirelli Phantoms this thing comes with, they're not really that confidence inspiring. So unfortunately, one of my biggest gripes with the XSR700 is the suspension. This bike features these 41mm traditional right side up non-adjustable forks up at the front, and the rear you got this monoshock with preload adjustable only. Now it's a perfectly fine suspension setup for the street, but once you start pushing beyond 6 or 7/10, you're gonna start noticing some weirdness out of this bike. The rear end really isn't very compliant. The front end pogo sticks a little bit. So if you wanted to be a little bit more sporty, I'd recommend doing a cartridge kit up front, maybe an R6 front end swap, and I'd definitely get a new rear shock so you can really tighten up what this bike should handle like. A couple of the things I noticed on this motorcycle as a more experienced rider is throttle and brakes. It's one of the most critical components on any bike, and it's the first thing you notice when you go out on a ride. So par for the course for any Yamaha MT/XSR bike. This bike does have that kind of snatchy throttle feel that a lot of Yamahas have. So when you first get on the throttle, it opens up in a bit of a weird way, and it also, the on-off throttle feel isn't super great on this bike. However, if you put an exhaust on it and get a nice fuel controller, it does clean it up quite a bit. Brake feel, super wooden, super budget, pretty similar Yamaha braking feel as any other entry-level kind of bikes. It'll definitely get you stopped, but it's not gonna feel, you know, really nice through the lever here and really progressive, and you get a lot of feedback from the front. It just kind of does the job. One thing I really do love about this motorcycle is just how easy it flicks over from side to side. This thing only weighs about 410 pounds, so when you're going down the road, you can easily just flick it over from side to side. It's really easy to move it around a shop if you need to, and it's just a really fun bike to just flick through your favorite back road.
The XSR700 is a strange motorcycle when you first swing a leg over it. When you plop down in the seat, you realize that you're not really on a sport bike. The 32-inch seat height puts the pegs pretty far below you, and they're closer to your knees than your butt. However, because of that super tall seat, the pegs are still far enough off the ground that you're not going to be touching them down mid-corner. Another thing you immediately notice about the XSR is how long it feels. The plastic tank cover is gigantic, and the handlebars have nearly 4 inches of back sweep on them. The headlight sticks out even farther, making it ever present in your field of view as you ride. When I first got on the XSR, I didn't understand what this bike was trying to be. It didn't have the traditional naked bike feel, sport bike power and handling, but no plastics, and it didn't have the heavy, slow, yet firmly planted feel of a cruiser. Much like the DRZ400S we had previously, it took a good 5 or 6 long rides on the XSR to really get a feel for it. I think the turning point for me was when we shot the Street Rod versus XSR700 comparison video, when I felt the difference between a sport cruiser and a neo-retro naked bike firsthand. Because the XSR700 is so light at 410 pounds in stock trim, the 74 Ponies gives it a rowdy but playful character. It also makes the bike a bit of a tough sell for the first-time rider, since it'll happily power wheelie in both first and second gear. It's not, as I first thought, a sporty cruiser, but a well-mannered naked bike that you could happily spend all day on. But the biggest thing that every single XSR owner must do is get rid of that atrocious stock exhaust system and let that beautiful crossplane twin sing. I've said it before and I'll say it again, it's criminal that the XSR700 is so quiet from the factory. So much of the bike's character is tied to the exhaust. If you want to experience everything the XSR has to offer, you owe it to yourself to get a pipe on there. But these are the thoughts of someone who spent a good deal of time in the saddle. Let's see what Andrew has to say after his very first ride.
Holy! Oh my god! Woo! Well, you got a new voice today, everyone. This is Andrew / cameraman, testing out the XSR700. Mr. Yammie Noob was nice enough to let me take it out for a spin for the first time. And oh my god, jeez, many goodness, the freaking power, dude. It's just on tap. And again, this is not going to be a technical overview. I'm not going over the specs like he did. I'm not going over the horsepower and the torque, because it's all about the feeling, baby. Oh man, I know I'm talking a lot, but I'm also out of breath because this thing is exhilarating, and that's what it'll do to you when you get on it. People, I can't believe there's a 900 version of this. Like 700 is literally all you need. Oh my god, even some tire slippage right there too. When I get one of these, I think I would put some knobby tires on it and try and take it a little bit off-road. And I know the suspension also probably isn't built out for dirt either, but it's low to the ground. You could stick a leg out if you needed to, if things got a little dicey. And I think that's what the heart of this thing wants to be, kind of adventure bike. I'm an ADV boy, as you all know. I come from a long line of GS's and whatever else, but I don't know, this thing feels like it wants to just frickin' go all day on some dirt back road or something. Oh, and you can stand up on it too, that's nice. Holy cow, this is actually nicer to stand up than my GS. So yeah, let me go over some technical specs. I know I said I wasn't going to, but horsepower, enough. Torque power, more than enough. Suspension, just fine. Holy f***, almost got booted off the back of this thing. This is, why? I mean, it's so smooth. Everything is so smooth about this bike. It's aggressive when you want it to be aggressive. It's smooth when you want it to be smooth. It's comfortable when you need it to be comfortable. You can stand up when you need to stand up. No one in front, no one behind me. I mean, the 0 to 60 on this thing. I know we talk about the R1 like it teleports you, and I know it probably does. I can't even imagine what that's going to be like. I'm scared to ride that bike, honestly, truly, to my core. I am terrified to ride the R1. But this thing, not even being a 900, just a 700 is enough to get you where you want to go in less than a blink of an eye. I feel like I'm riding a triple. I feel like I'm riding an inline 4. I know it's only a twin, but holy cow, it's smooth. See if I can match Spite's U-turn power here. Oh, yeah, this thing just U-turns like it's nothing. Got a little wave for us there from Mr. Chopper. Alright, let's try a third gear pull. Oh, yep, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Feels like second gear. Okay. Let's try shifting up. Alright, let's try a fourth gear pull. Oh, yep, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Feels like second gear. Okay. Okay. Wow. Yeah, overall, whoever wins this, just consider myself extremely jealous of you, because I want this thing right now. See, this was just a bad move, letting me get on this thing, because now I just want to go to a dealership, put a down payment, start financing, take one of these for myself. This thing just wants to scrape peg so bad. It wants me to go so much faster, but not in a dangerous way, in a nice, healthy, non-codependent way, where you're like, you know what, I'll take you faster. And it just says, thanks. I appreciate that. And I support you too. Well, that was just incredibly fun.
The main two competitors come from the big four in the form of the SV650 and the Z650. Let's start out with the Cowie. The Z650 makes 67.3 horsepower and 84.4 foot-pounds of torque, and it weighs in at 412 pounds. When you compare that to the XSR, you're gonna feel that lack of power, not to mention a normal 180-degree crank sounds about as exciting as that soundtrack you hear playing in your local mall. In case you forgot, this is what a 180-degree P-twin sounds like. And this is versus our XSR. The Z650 does have one saving throw, being priced at $7,000. It is a much more attainable bike right out of the gate. The Z650 has also been updated to include a TFT display, and while it does make the XSR's dash look like something from the early aughts, I've come to the realization that TFTs don't really offer more for you than a simple backlit LED display. The Z650, while it is cheaper, is a very pedestrian motorcycle. It doesn't have the personality or the character of the XSR. The other big four competitor is, of course, the SV650, which features a 645cc 90-degree V-twin making 75 horsepower and 47 foot-pounds of torque. Weighs in at 434 pounds, features 31-inch seat height. The 2020 SVs are priced at $7,099 without ABS and $7,500 with ABS, which puts it a cool grand cheaper than the XSR. The SV features a similar dash setup and even has some of those retro aesthetics with that big round headlight and exposed frame. Not to mention they've made approximately 56 million SVs, so aftermarket parts are dirt cheap. In my opinion, if you want a 650 and are not too hung up on the neo-retro looks, the SV650 has a much better value prop than the XSR700. We even gave away one last year and we really enjoyed our time with it. It makes a great sound. And it works really well as a commuter, Sunday roadster, and entry-level track bike. But let's say you have $10,000 burning a hole in your pocket and you want a neo-retro bike with a little bit more panache, more pedigree. Maybe you want to roll up to your local bike night and have your bike pronounced to the world, yes, I'm better than you. Well, you could spring for the Ducati Scrambler Icon. The Scrambler Icon comes in at a spicy $9,400, but you get an engine with a lot of character that absolutely nails the retro vibe. The 803cc L-twin, and no, it's not a V-twin, you pleb, V-twins are for Americans, makes 73 horsepower and 49 foot-pounds of torque, which puts it right in line with the SV and the XSR. Its 31.4-inch seat height does make it slightly more approachable than the XSR, but the Ducati Premium is a bit of a tough pill to swallow sometimes. It's also air-cooled, which makes it a tougher sell than the liquid-cooled Japanese bikes, and it's a 2-valve engine, but its exhaust note is second to none. The larger displacement gives the bike a healthier amount of torque right off the line, and while you won't want to take it to redline, it's still a lovely engine to own. So in a field with many crowded options, who should own the XSR and why?
Doppelganger of the Yam as you are, Andrew, the newest team member of Yammie Noob, but thought it'd be fun to bequeath you the XSR so you could rip it around for a little bit. It's your first time on the bike, right?
Yeah, first time with this like suite of bikes, basically.
Yeah, you've never ridden an MT bike before, right?
Nope. Yeah.
What'd you think?
I mean, yeah, you probably heard in my review just when I was riding around, but like, I don't know, like 700s, 650s, like all you can do is just kind of yell. I mean, when you get to that kind of like CC, because like just the power is beyond words. It's just fun. Like it's just fun. It's what a bike I feel like is supposed to be, and like just to have all that power on tap in any gear is incredible.
Yeah, like for me, it's just that sweet spot. You know, like they're just really, really nice bikes for pretty much everyday stuff. How do you feel about people calling it a beginner bike?
It depends who is talking, because like if beginners are saying that, then either they've never been on a bike before or they just have never been on one that's powerful before. But like as someone who's ridden like everything from a 125 to a 800, it's like it's something you can definitely grow into, but as far as starting out, you would either want to like literally find some way to limit your wrist to not go over 50% or just take it really easy, because like it can be, but yeah, you just want to take it slow because there's so much power left over when you get to like 50%. So
yeah, so I'm sure you notice, you know, first and second gear, give it a little bit more wrist than usual. It just lightens up. You know, it's a really fun bike for that reason. But I could see it really spooking a beginner.
Oh yeah, especially if they get like whiskey throttle or just something like that. It would just.
Oh god, yeah. What did you think when it was over on the side of the tire, handling kind of stuff? What did you kind of feel?
It's like I think you've mentioned this, but like it feels like it just wants to like drag peg. It just wants to flick right into the curves. There's like no. I mean, a lot of the weight feels like it's around right here, and that is like I feel like perfect. I like the top end just because that really allows you to dip really quickly. Versus being lower, it takes a little bit more of your body to try and lean it in. So I just turning is it's ready to go any direction you need to on a dime. But
I'm glad you liked it, man. So now let us answer the question: who should own this bike? Alrighty, Spy, wrapping it up for today. Our comprehensive review on this motorcycle, probably our favorite of the bunch this time around.
Oh, definitely.
Answering the question today, who should own this bike? What do you think?
It's tough. It's really tough. This bike is technically a beginner bike, right? It's not making more than 100 horsepower, which I feel like is the perfect number for the street. So it's down a little bit, but because it's so light, and it's lighter still because of the mods we've done to it, it's really fast.
It's rowdy.
It's really fast. So I feel like the ideal rider for this motorcycle is somebody in their late 20s with a little bit of disposable income, because it does come at a bit of a premium, but who's either got a little riding experience or is a returning rider. Honestly, I don't see this being the first bike you go and hop on. You know, you don't run out and pass your MSF course and go get this at the dealership.
This would be a bit of a handful for a first time, you know, fresh American MSF minted rider. It's a bit of a thing, and you know, it's funny. I think some people might think like, oh, you know, the R6 is super fast and all that. This feels faster than a 600 at the low speeds for sure. Like this feels way torquier, way more pokey than a bike like that. And so, you know, top end power really isn't the be all end all for me. I think, you know, tons of torque on this thing. It's a really rowdy bike, really fun to ride. So I would say this bike, much like Spike just said, someone who's coming back to it, maybe someone who's a little bit older, a little bit more judicious with that throttle hand, and wants something with that cool kind of neo-retro vibe to it. It's a really sweet bike.
I also feel like it's worth noting that this throttle is very choppy. We've said it before, but this throttle can sneak up on you. It's the on-off is not very smooth. So it's helpful if you have at least some experience with a nice cable throttle, just so that you can understand what you're getting into.
Definitely, but overall, I mean, I give this bike a 9 out of 10. It's a fantastic machine. Even with its faults, Yamaha's built such a fun and playful thing, and it's, to me, the one I keep coming back to for all of our giveaways.
And it's worth pointing out too that this is almost like Sportster levels of customization here. You can do so much with this platform.
And I gotta say too, the soundtrack is just, it's molto bene. It's very good. We actually heard Andrew coming back from his test ride, and both you and I were like, man, that thing sounds good. I love the soundtrack on this thing. It's such a sweet engine on it, and it's a really great bike.
Oh, it's excellent.
So thanks for checking out today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed our comprehensive look on this motorcycle. We're actually giving this one away, and there's only a couple more days left to win it. June 7th, 2020 is the final cutoff for the sweepstakes. After that, someone's gonna be picking this thing up for free. So hit the link down below, go to yammie.co and check it out. Special thank you to our new member, Andrew, who's helping us produce the baddest motorcycle content on the internet. And if you like what we do, hit the yammie.co and support us there as well. We'll catch you on the next one. See you later. Hey, you adorable little squid. Thanks for watching the video. Why don't you click on this one right here and keep watching? Don't worry, I'll wait. Just like this. Click the video. Do it now.